and you gonna murder this one and murder that one. Talking all that bullshit. I'm gonna put it to you like this, yo.
This is for the nerds, this is for the brainiacs, this what we deserve. Go ahead and play it back, you ain't gonna touch me, you not gonna do nothing, you are not above me, I bet you wish you was me, I know it, I know.
What is poppin', everybody? And welcome back.
Sit up
to
straight.
another
I was gonna say, he looks
special
tiny.
episode of, oh my God, I do look tiny. It's the chair. I hate this chair. Of the Only Friends podcast. Well, you know, it's me and my only friends, which includes, but it's not limited to, El Tortua. What's poppin', baby?
What is poppin'?
How are you feeling today?
I'm feeling great.
Chilling?
What a great weekend for, you know.
It's a beautiful weekend for a beautiful weekend.
Pennsylvania sports.
Beautiful
if you
weekend
will.
for Pennsylvania everywhere.
Mhm.
Bold of you to wear the Penn State jersey.
I mean, listen, man, they're number 3 in the country.
Yeah, it's
They went into a very, very hostile place,
All right,
which
relax.
is USC. Never an easy place to win. They go in.
the
they were
Coliseum,
down.
which we didn't even know if USC played there or UCLA.
Yeah, I always get
We're
it
down
confused with the Rose Bowl. I'm like, which one plays at the Rose Bowl and which one plays at the Coliseum? But it's UCLA plays at the Rose Bowl and USC plays at the Coliseum. We went in. We were down 2 scores. We didn't give up. Now we're waiting for a big showdown. Well, I was going to say a big showdown with Ohio State, but they lost. So
Listen, buddy,
Did it?
I'm a Penn State fan, and I got to tell you, you are
a lot of hope.
You're drinking the fucking Kool-Aid.
Oh, I know. They're
Adler looks good.
Kool-Aid
That's
is tasty.
Adler looks good. Their defense is really good.
The only person that looks good is the center.
I would say future Steeler, but we just drafted a center.
Did you
Really good, but now hurt.
Did you see Tyler Warren?
Yeah.
He's an absolute
He's
animal.
Yeah.
Definitely going to go in the top 10 in the draft next year.
Man, I understand. It's funny because I'm a Penn State fan, but now I understand the pain of everybody listening because I couldn't care less about Penn State football.
Yeah.
It's I don't know when it happened. College. I think it's when I got too old compared to the college
Just
athletes.
better?
Yeah. We'll talk about the Steelers later in the show whenever we get into the Weekend Warrior wrap up.
And your
We
parlay
obviously
going
had don't get me fucking started, buddy. I got hosed on that one. I don't like this hat. You know, I don't.
You're looking at yourself in the.
I don't like the color. It's not Steeler gold.
Right.
You know, it's like some off
It's burnt
New
orange.
Orleans Saints version.
Yeah. Not to go back to college sports, but that's kind of like the reason why I hate Pitt. Like, I think if Pitt was black and gold, I could get on board. But it's that blue and that weird yellow. I don't like it.
That's fair. That's actually quite fair, to be honest.
Yeah.
We got a packed show today. Not as packed as I would hope, because I personally dropped the ball on this one. We were supposed to have a guest today, and I did not properly follow up. But we will take care of that.
Mystery
this
guest?
week.
It happens.
We'll talk after the show. So I got a lot to catch you guys up on this weekend. Obviously, LeMan and I attended the Steeler game.
We did.
Which we'll discuss in length at some point, I'm sure.
We will.
Prior to that, though, I had the pain of playing an 18-hour session. And I have to tell you, I'm here. I'm here to help you learn from my mistakes, kids. Just don't.
Yeah,
Just don't do it.
I'm gonna agree. I used to do these things all the time, and like I wouldn't even dare do something like this.
You played
nowadays.
from what, noon?
10
till
a.m.
6? 10 a.m. to 4 a.m.
6 a.m.
That's 20 hours, bro.
That's 20 hours. I played a 20-hour session. My apologies. It went dark at one point.
Yeah, I don't blame you for like getting the numbers wrong after a 20-hour session. 18, 20, 24. What the hell's the difference?
Was it like? Did the game stay with you? Like, is it the same people for most of it?
We broke an 8-handed game to play Heads Up PLO.
You did what?
Oh, so it was Oaken.
Well, that wasn't until 2 a.m. At 2 a.m., we broke an 8-handed game. Oak and I go, we're leaving to play PLO. You guys can keep playing if you want. And they're like, we're done. I was like, yeah, of course. We're fucking buried. I would only be staying for us two.
That's great.
It was
Yeah, great.
it was one of my worst decisions in recent history.
Yay.
I think. Not because the game wasn't good and I wasn't playing in a profitable situation. I don't regret playing the 20 hours. I regret the next day. I slept for 3 hours before the Steeler game. barely got through it, and then fell asleep at 4:45 last night.
You were
5:15 last
I was
night.
gonna say night, maybe late afternoon.
It was. I had to close every
Shade?
curtain
Yeah.
in my room, and there was still sunlight peeking through.
Mm-hmm.
But
Just an EP guy.
I woke up this morning to an alarm. That's how.
When's the last time you did that?
Most days because I go to the gym, but
Wow, yeah.
that's not my point. My point is like, you know, I didn't mean to fall asleep. I turned the TV on. I don't even know if my TV turned itself off or what happened.
What you're saying is you slept straight through from 5
Straight
till
through.
this morning.
Straight through.
You should be rested now.
I woke up to the alarm going, holy shit. Did I really not break this sleep?
That's pretty sick. Cause during the Giants game, I was like, damn, I haven't seen anybody today. I was wondering if you and Landon were absolutely knocked out, but now it all makes sense. You played an 18-hour session before that
20,
game.
apparently.
20.
I was
This
knocked
is all
out.
making sense.
Landon was off
I'm busy.
gallivanting around town.
Gallivanting the world.
It was Sunday, you know. He
I
goes,
played online. What do you mean?
Yeah, he goes into his dungeon.
Yeah, we
Big
know.
online guy.
Big
online guy.
Yeah, big online guy.
Big
online.
almost bracelet winner guy.
Right. So to give you some of the highlights and lowlights of this session, why I don't recommend this. So here's something that I've actually been thinking pretty long and hard about, and it puts me at peace with grinding, I guess. Maybe you guys can talk a little bit about this as far as your vantage points go, but I'm coming around to the idea that so long as there isn't some sort of deterioration in your ability to make good decisions, that each hour exchanged is relatively comparable, and that when you win, if you zoom in on that very small sample, you're obviously almost always going to be way above expectation. And then the same happens on the losing side of things. So the way I think about it is, like, I won 150K 2 sessions ago. And it's like, okay, well, that's going to regress. It just has to. And maybe I've already paid the regression in the past, and it's now actually correcting for the positive side of things or whatever. But the whole point is, like, I don't get too wrapped up in the big swings one way or the other, because I just understand that after 1,000 hours, after 2,000 hours, whatever, I should expect to be up X amount of dollars.
Mm-hmm.
In the past, it wasn't like that. In the past, if I had won 1,500 big blinds and then lost 1,000 big blinds the next session, I would have like a panic attack, thinking that, not recognizing the variance, right? Just thinking like, oh my God, you're the worst to lose 1,000 big blinds in a session. Like, that's just so fucking bad. But now I kind of understand a little bit better, I guess, how important volume is at smoothing these types of things out, and how impossible it is for us as people to really, I guess, understand that. You know, like we don't really, in the moment, we don't get it. And that's very clear to me based off of the lunatics that I play with. They're different people winning and losing, always, not the same guy.
Yeah. Which is good for you.
Well,
Should be.
it's good for the game.
That's what I mean.
It's hard for anybody to be the same guy, just when it comes to trying to stay responsible as far as frequencies go when you're losing to. You know, it's hard to kind of give up on a triple barrel when you're stuck, because there's a lot of money in the pot. There's a lot of things along those lines. But most of the time, you're still going to make good decisions, of course.
I think that's kind of just shaped at a time. Like, just kind of build a callus for it over time, for the most part.
Yeah, I agree with both of you a lot, because I have such a different perspective now. Like, I was hard on Landon's camp.
Yeah.
Maybe 2, 3, 4, probably pre-COVID. I think COVID changed it a lot for me. But even like when Landon and I first came in contact during COVID and shortly thereafter, it was clear to me that we had different views of isolated spots, because I was so accustomed to being a live guy where every spot was critical. And
Or like predicated on the last.
yeah, it's also very dependent. If anybody tries to claim that there isn't a pulse to a live game, they're not paying close enough attention, in my opinion, because it is very clear to me, like, who's stuck matters, who's winning matters. You know, people play, especially in my game, like, people play remarkably different when they're winning or losing.
Sometimes people got to take the knee, man.
I'll tell you.
You don't.
No, I do not. And I think there are more egregious versions of me. Like, there are definitely some guys who have winner tilt in my game, and they're way spurier when they're winning. There are other guys that literally go from V-pipping like 35% to 2 when they're winning. And all it takes, and here's
I got dinner at 8, guys.
Right, but here's the funny thing about that is that the game is the game, the variance is the variance. So you can't do anything to manipulate it one way or the other. The reason understanding the pulse of the game is so important is because when you get into these very close decisions, when you get into these 0 EV nodes, it will lean you heavily one way or the other. But the guys who take a knee that need to lock up the win are the guys that tilt the hardest whenever variance goes against them. I'm not going to name any names, but somebody was winning 40 or 50K the entire session.
What are you talking about looking like this for?
Somebody then attempted to run a 4-bet bluff versus the tightest fucking player in the game. Like the guy who's so far down on the list, he only gets into the game when I'm buried and keep it alive past midnight.
That's Vulture
Jesus,
5.
I so want to just like ramble off names right now.
He's Vulture Infinite. I was stuck like 80,000 at midnight, and he got a seat, and I actually said out loud, I don't have the patience to play with him. I'm just going to quit. But then they started a round to stand up literally as I was saying that, so I didn't quit. Right. But had I just stuck to my guns here, I would have just quit there down 80 and got a good night's sleep.
You're going to save money.
Well, yeah. I mean, you know, knowing that that's the outcome, sure. But it didn't matter. The game was still good. I didn't lose much between midnight and 2 playing that game. I think I lost like 8 or 12,000, something like that.
How long do you think it'll be before you guys start doing a little squid?
We won't.
No?
And I'll discourage it too.
Really?
Yeah, it's really bad for for everybody involved. For a lot of reasons. The winners win less, but the people who benefit from it don't appreciate the benefit. Right? The recreationals that actually benefit from progressive squid don't appreciate it because now they're forced into gambling in order to recoup that EV for the entirety, right? And most of them don't sign up for that. Most of them sign up to play like quite tight, try to make hands, and then bleed it off slow.
For what it's worth, progressive squid is stand-up game with
It's like a
the
hybrid.
collecting
Yeah,
of the bounties, right?
Correct.
The way it's like you do a set amount of hands, and if I win 5, I get 5 bounties.
That's one version of it. Most versions don't do a set amount of hands. You just play normal stand-up game, but you can win multiple bounties.
Gotcha.
And the thing is that the negative outcomes they resonate with people much deeper than the positive outcome.
Yeah.
So the recreational won't remember the time that he won 5 squids and got the double bonus. He'll remember the dozen times that he had to pay out the 5 squids.
Yeah.
And how costly it was.
I remember a couple months ago we talked about this and like how in kind of depth about how it's probably not best for the game.
I think it's.
I mean, I think it depends on the players, right?
Well,
I think it depends on the game.
I guess my point is like on the onset, it's really bad for the game because the recreationals get filleted.
Yeah.
But I also think people adjust very quickly to these new dynamics, even recreationals. And then long term, basically it turns No Limit Hold'em into PLO.
Yeah, I was going to say it creates a new game.
Well, not a new game. You're still playing the same game, the same structures. It just changes ranges a bit. But what I mean by it turns it into PLO is that it ups the variance high enough to where win rate gets reduced for the best players in the game. So it distributes the win rate much more evenly.
Yeah.
So as far as like the longevity of your player pool goes, it actually probably does a better job of keeping recreationals afloat. But the thing about
time.
Yeah. But the thing about the high stakes world is that you don't need to keep the recreational money afloat. It's infinite. Not infinite in the sense that there are infinite recreationals, but infinite in the sense that the recreationals that do play could literally never go broke.
Yeah.
So since they could never go broke, and your regs are actually what prop the game up because they're there day in and day out, and they can go broke.
You want them to
you
win.
taking their win rate away actually is detrimental, I think, long term to the health of the game. Because one by one, you'll just start to lose reg. Like the weakest regs will keep falling off because now they're winning less and less and less of the recreational money, and they can't compete with the stronger regs.
Vulture cleanup party.
Well, the vultures would love that because then they get seats eventually.
That's true. That is.
It would just be a progression of who goes down the list.
Progressive vulture.
That part is true. But it hurts them because the reason they're vultures is because they're uber nits.
Of course.
Right? They're just way too tight.
I was just joking.
But
they will get seats.
But it can only hurt them so much if you leave the minimum buy-in low, which ours is low. Ours is only $5K for a 1-1 game.
Is it?
Yeah. If you leave that low buy-in, they don't get hurt that much. It's very difficult to make errors in progressive squid with 50 big blinds.
They may even win money because they get the rejam spots and all that.
Yeah. It's the high. So here's the thing.
But you're paying out so much.
The short stack is the highest EV stack that you can have, but it's one of the lowest hourly stacks that you can have, if that makes sense, right? Because your win rate's just capped at 50 big blinds, but the EV of that stack, the decisions that you have to make, it's very, very, very hard to make errors. Yeah. Not hard, but it's hard to make big errors, let's put it that way. You don't ever get to a river node where there's 1,000 big blinds in the pot and you're 1,000 effective.
Can't jam 2,000 big blinds with King 10 suited if you don't have 2,000 big blinds in the first place.
This guy knows what he's talking about. Maybe from experience. I don't know.
Should have said his king off.
You should have. You know what, though? I knew you wouldn't wait for that. Part of me just, instincts. If you guys want to know what we're referencing, this season of Poker Out Loud, Landon went a little hard. He was learning the stand-up, and he tested the upper limits of what you can jam pre for a fourth bet.
You can jam whatever you want.
He went with King 10 suited for 1,600 big blinds.
It's a good hand.
It's a great hand.
Call.
Man, all right. So back to what I was saying about like the pulse of the game and stuff like that. So this particular player decided to 4-bet the tightest guy in the game, who 3-bet out of the big blind, by the way.
Oh.
So he chose the 4-bet bluff him, where he has actually zero
The guy's
bottom of range.
Yeah.
Like bottom of range is queens, not ace-5 suited, not anything else that you could put in there, not ace-jack off. He has 0 3-bet folds, and you're going to have a hell of a time getting him off of hand post. So, of course, it comes king-queen high, and our hero here has the ace-10 suited. So he rifles it, turns a king, and he just puts in, 3 streets of bets and gets fucked by queens full, as he deserves to. And from there, he went from playing like 5% of hands to just absolutely losing his shit. And I don't mean losing his shit in a way where like the game got great. I mean just like he's stewing. Just like, you could just see, when people get like angry / embarrassed at the same time because they just know how dumb they are for what they just did.
I have absolutely no idea what you're talking about.
No idea.
I mean, out of everything you just said right now, that's the only thing I don't relate to.
Right, of course. But it makes sense, Guapo. As a fellow member of someone who's never been in the muck, I know that your ears have never been read.
Yeah.
But drawing a parallel. Remember when I flipped that switch on Friday?
No, I forgot. I forgot all about it. So, I haven't thought about it once since then.
When that happened, was there maybe a little rush of blood to the ears a little bit?
Yeah, and anger.
Yeah, exactly. It's this borderline of anger, but it's misdirect. You don't know who to direct it at. It's a little at yourself. It's a little at the other person. And I know this feeling also well. It all goes to your ears. Mm-hmm. Every bit of it. Like I think the notion of like steam coming out of your ears,
right,
is actually this sensation of your ears get so hot,
right?
Like your ears are just burning. And like that's just what you see. Just him like motherfucking under his breath. And his ears are just beat red. And now he's just playing more hands, and they're poorly played. And you can just see, like, he's beaten down, right?
So this is why you play 20 hours.
So, of course, when he now wants to play heads up PLO,
you're like, sure.
I oblige. Well, the thing was, like, he wanted a marathon session. I was stuck, like, 100-ish or something like that. I was like, no, like, I'm going to bed. And he's like, I'll play you 2-4. And I was like, no, I need to go to bed at some point. And he goes, you can quit when you want. I go, okay. All right, look. 4 o'clock hard stop. If you want to gamble for 2 hours, then I'll gamble with you for 2 hours. But like, I have to quit at 4 because I need to sleep. before the Steelers game. And if I quit at 4, I'll get to bed by 5. I'll wake up at noon, and I won't disappoint my friends. So at 6:30, I'm texting Danielle. Saying I'm going to be late. So what ends up happening, we start playing heads up PLO, and it's going the way it always goes. I win like the first 15 or 20 pots. I'm up like 20K. But this time, the red ear got to him a little bit, and he starts getting a little bit more aggressive, a little more 3 bets out of the big blind, which in the past was damn near 0.
He's been listening to the pod, bro.
No,
I'm telling you.
No, he hasn't. Trust me. Trust me. I'll give you for instance. There was a hand we played where I actually physically got out of my chair because I was laughing so hard at what he showed down. I did a lap around the room with tears in my eyes because of what he showed down in this particular pot.
It was my favorite moments.
It was the most hilarious indication that he has no fucking clue how to play cards in general that I've ever seen. And as I come back to the table, he goes, "You're better than me, heads up, but you don't know anything about PLO." And I go, "I don't need to know anything about PLO to know that you don't know anything about cards in general." So the hand, if you guys want to follow along verbally, I know it's tough with PLO, but this is a relatively easy one. The board comes 9-7-5, 6-8 is the nuts. It's a single raise pot. I check raise, and he calls. Now, what you have to understand here, and I don't know a lot about PLO, but to c-bet and then call a raise on this particular board, you're going to need to be blocking some nutted hands. Yeah. And you need to be drawing also to some hands that can improve against nutted hands.
Absolutely.
So in particular, you're going to need to have an 8 in your hand in some sort of capacity, and you would really love to have a 9 or a 7 as well. Mm-hmm. In some way, shape, or form. These cards are really important. Now, there are, I guess, potential exceptions to this rule. If you have a hand like Jack 10, probably an okay one to go ahead and float with. Even Jack 10 in any capacity with a backdoor, probably very reasonable. You're drawing to the nuts. But point is,
you got to be drawing to the nuts here.
Point is,
or have.
You just don't want to c-bet a hand not drawing to anything nutted unless your plan is to fold to a raise. Okay? So 9-7-5 rainbow, I check raise, he calls. Turn is the 9 of clubs, bringing backdoor flush draw. So now it's 9-9-6-5, 2 clubs. I check. 9-9-7-5, 2 clubs. I check, and he bets half pot. And again, like, just, you know, the main structure here is like somebody polarized in this hand, a la me, and then chose to go passive on the next street. I don't think reopening the action here for like this weird size is really ever going to be. It's just there's nothing in that range that makes sense to go half. It's like pot or check, and maybe I'm being a little bit too critical here. Maybe there is a lot of reasons to be like betting small in the spot, which for what it's worth, if you said it was like pot, quarter pot, or check, totally understand that too. It's just the half pot seems like weird. Whatever, it doesn't really matter. He bets half pot, I call. River is the 6 of clubs, now making a one-liner to an 8. 8-10 is the nut straight, and backdoor clubs filled. I check. He checks back. His hand. Queen Jack of clubs.
Okay.
6-4 of nothing.
Oh my. So yeah, he's drawn to the bottom end, straight draw, to backdoor flush draw.
I got out of my chair and burst out laughing. Like,
yeah, I could see why.
Betting this hand on the flop seems insane. Calling a check raise seems like you just want to hand me money. And then reopening the action on the turn as a bluff for half pot.
It's a beautiful thing.
Blocking actually literally nothing is one of the most insanely suicidal things I've ever seen in my life. But then to not value bet when you fucking make your flush.
Yeah.
Right.
It's just like he goes, well, I thought you could have a full house at that point. It's like,
Who cares?
well, you probably should have thought about that on the flop, turn, and river before you fucking got there. It's like now all of a sudden that you have showdown value, you're thinking about like, oh wow. Which, for what it's worth, of all the things that I'm critical of, like checking back river is probably a good correction,
Right.
given the other two errors.
Yeah.
But like when you reopen the turn, you don't want to make your hand and then just be like, okay, gonna check down now. Like this seems insane. I mean, it just seems like the most ridiculously played hand of all. And of course, like I had a hand that I don't know a lot about PLO, but I think I played my hand completely fine. I had king 9 8 8. So I blocked nuts on the flop with a gut shot myself. I turned trips, but because I have a pair in my hand, I don't boat up that often, so I don't really want to play this aggressively. I don't think I go check raise again, and I don't think I want to go check raise bomb too often.
I think you either turn your hand to a bluff here or on turn.
I think I can only do it on river. Because now even on river, I don't think my hand is a viable bluff. I don't block enough. Like blocking the 9 is nice, but like he just has 7's full. He has 5's full. He still has some amount of 9-7, 9-5, and 9-6. Like the 6 is particularly a bad card, I think, to potentially turn my hand into a bluff. He's just going to complete more of his full houses because he'll have, in his bluff range, he'll have
6.
pocket 6s. Yeah. So I think as played, I played my hand completely fine. It's probably just a check fold on the river. But it was the hand that just like set me into orbit. I was just like, I can't fucking lose it. And this hand happened at 4 a.m.
Got his ass.
So you got me. Like I literally came back to the table and I go, you got me. You got me, man. For whatever you want, like you got me. I'm here for at least 2 more hours now. Congratulations. Like this ended up being like a 40K pot. And I'm just like, you fucking, you got me for life. I'll never leave. And I realized like how much I hate myself for that because he is the guy who's prone to change. So the next 2 hours, we don't play a single 3-bet pot.
Right.
Or at least not where he 3-bet. I'm 3-betting like a fucking madman because I'm just trying
maniac.
to pour as much money into pots as humanly possible.
Yep.
He shows down like aces in a single raise pot. I'm just like, oh,
I'm going
here
home.
we fucking
You see, that's
go.
where he's got to be like. I mean, it's funny because it's such a catch-22 because like you really just want to be like, I'm going home. Fuck you.
Right.
And at the same time, it's like, all right, you know what? Whatever. I guess I'm collecting a little back, a little back.
That's the challenge, and that's where old me and new me, the way I view putting hours in at the table, are a bit at conflict. Right? Because old me would just be like, I got this guy, he fucking sucks. Like, it doesn't matter. I'll play him till I die. And I'll scoop all the money. Because you don't conceptualize the way that hours work. You don't conceptualize the way variance works. You don't all you think about is just like mano y mano. I know what I'm doing and he doesn't, I'm gonna win. Right? New me is kind of like, okay, well, you're beating him. For how much? Maybe undetermined, but you're making an hourly against him. And if you realize you're hourly or even 5x your hourly in the next 2 hours that you plan on staying here, you're not going to get anywhere fucking close to even. No. So new me is like, go home. Because like exchanging these 2 hours can't possibly be worth the exchange of making a little bit of money back.
This is something that Galfon talks about.
Go on.
When it comes to like what your hourly is, how much you're making in a game, how much you're stuck, and is it actually worth staying? And are you even playing at that hourly if you're stuck?
Right. So the last point, are you actually playing at that hourly if you're that stuck? That's where I convince myself to stay because I truly feel nothing. Like I don't feel the hot ears anymore. Like I know I'm not getting emotional over the swings and I feel like I'm still playing relatively well. When I was playing Albert in Dubai, I stopped the game. Like I quit. He won a big-ish pot off of me where he got kind of thin and I truly felt myself uncertain as to like what I was supposed to do with my hand. And I ended up folding. And I think I folded correctly, but like at that exact point, I was just like, I'm definitely not operating 100%. And in this very moment, he's better than me. So whether I have edge here or not, which I'm not even positive that I do, I certainly don't any longer. And I just quit. And I quit at like peak fucking stuck, which is impossible to do.
It's hard.
You know, it's like you're just down like 500 blinds, and you're just like, yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and call it.
I'm gonna go home now.
It's like this guy's willing to play you for a day.
Yeah,
You know,
it's hard because if you feel like you're in a spot where you are operating at B or greater poker, there's still that human element where you think because you can play well, you will be rewarded for it.
or that you'll like get out of the B into the A.
You're
Like
going
something
to
will switch
outperform
it.
your hourly
Right.
that you think you have.
Yeah.
Or if you think you're winning $100 an hour or whatever, and you're stuck 1,000, but you're like, well, if I'm here for 5 hours, I'm going to make more than that if I can keep playing well.
Right.
Which is just you trying to justify why you should stay.
Well, it is possible, right? There's obviously a margin of error as far as like your estimate, your hourly, but it all, especially in heads up, it comes from the delta, right? So if you're playing less than your A game, and you think the other person is playing incredibly well, then you're giving up the hourly now for sure. Like if you were making money, you're making less, or maybe you're losing money now. But when the inverse occurs, of course you're outperforming your hourly, right? Like prior to that pot, I for sure was doing better hour for hour against Oaken in that heads up match than I was after that pot.
Yeah.
100%. It's not even clear. And maybe nothing even changed from my side. It's just he's now playing better in some sort of capacity, or he's playing less volatile. Whatever the case may be, enough things swung against me where it's like by staying, I'm definitely just not making as much.
I mean, also the game just kind of changes right in front of your face. Like you go from, playing some pots, and then you're playing heads up against somebody that's not participating.
Right.
And that's that's irate. That makes just absolutely,
especially
you want to flip the table.
Especially in PLO, because it's not like you can just redline someone to death like that.
Yeah.
They're still just going to have like plenty of check calls post, and you're going to lose a bunch of small pots.
And it's tilting, infuriating.
Right.
Well, this was the same reason when you were playing in a game, and I don't know who it was or what the story is, but they had a lot of bigs. You're going to play heads up, and you limped the button, and you said, I'm not playing.
Oh, yeah. That was a great...
That was okay.
I actually no, it wasn't Oaken. I actually told that story in Dubai because the guys I was playing with in Dubai were a bunch of the guys I used to play Ivy's Room with. And I was like, yeah, you guys remember Henry? And they're like, yeah. He was like an oil tycoon, like this Iranian guy who like hails from California now. Wild action. And the story goes that that night he fucking slow rolls Roble in this like $1 million plus pot where it was brutal, man. I mean, just like fucking brutal. Roble's buried. And by the way, Roble's like one of the most fun people to play with in the world when he's buried. I know the notion of like playing with Andrew Roble and fun don't tend to go together. But like when he gets peak stuck and stops caring, he just orders like a bottle of Opus and just like gets ripped, So he's been drinking a little bit. He's got to be down like $500,000 at this point. And this pot occurs. I think it was a 3-bet pot. It might have been a single raise pot. I don't remember. But Robo ends up with king queen of spades on the end for the second nut flush. And there was a bunch of money that got in prior to the river, which completed the flush. And Henry checked. Robo jammed. And Henry asked how much it was, got a full countdown, thought about his decision for quite some period of time, and then calls. And Robo goes flush, and Henry goes, which one?
So good.
And so he tabled, and there was a straight flush out there. I think 8-7 of spades was a straight flush. Mm-hmm. So Robo tables king queen of spades, and Henry goes, oh, I can beat that. And he rolls over ace-7 of spades. So he blocked the straight flush anyway.
Right. Yeah.
So good.
Robo just like in the calmest way possible loses it. You know what I mean? Like he wasn't like he wasn't as mean as I'm sure he wanted to be, but he was just like, that's fucking enough for me. And he left. So he left, and maybe a couple of hours later the game started to break down. So now it's 6 a.m. We've been playing for like 13 or 14 hours. I have like 1.6 million in front of me. Henry has like 1.4. And he goes, do you want to play heads up? And I remember Jared B just like his eyebrows raising, like, this is a great spot. You're never gonna pass on this.
Yeah.
And I go, yeah, let's play. And the very first hand, so we're playing 1K, 2K heads up. The very first hand dealt, he limps the button.
Gotta go.
And I'm like, and I check, and ends up checking down on like a 9 high board or something like that. and he tables ace queen high. And I just go, I'll see you later, Henry.
Yeah.
I'm not doing this, man.
Right.
I'm definitely not gonna sit here 600 big blinds effective watching you fucking limp around with ace queen. Like, we're done here. I'm tired. I'm not gonna play well, and you're not gonna give me any action. Like, we're just done here.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, I think looking back, the justifications for playing sessions that long just have to be game oriented. Like, you just have to be.
Yeah.
The game turned over for us at like 7 p.m. or so, and I wasn't even buried at that point. So the full story, I was up 80K. We were playing stand up, and I fucked someone bad, where the two guys standing were cut off button, and it goes raise call, and I'm in the small blind with 5-4 off, and I'm just like, we got to keep the game going, boys.
Yep.
I'm not gonna let this one. So I call. Comes Jack 6 deuce rainbow.
Hello.
Checks around to the button, who stabs. I call, and the original raiser looks like he's gonna raise, and then just like very casually calls. And I was just like, that was weird, but maybe he was just thinking like, I need to win the pot here.
Yeah. Come on, 3.
And then he calls 3 diamonds on the turn.
Right on the turn, not even a sweat.
checks around. River is the 10 of spades. And I was like, oh man, maybe somebody has Jack 10 here.
Mm-hmm.
So there's $8K in the pot. I go 15,000. The original raiser doesn't even ask me how much I have or anything like that. All in.
Like, okay.
I'm nuts.
Yeah.
Fold, and I was like, I must have either he has the same hand or he must have Jack 10. And I just like smash my chips forward and call. Like, we're friends, so I was just like joking around, thinking we're chopping the pot a lot.
Yeah.
And he tables jacks. And I'm like,
man.
Sorry.
No good.
I'm
no good,
sorry.
I'm so sorry. Well, thank you.
So he jammed River for like I think it was 55K total.
Wow.
So it was like 120K pot. So at that point I'm up like 75,000.
Yeah.
And he's buried. At 9 p.m. he's still there, and so am I. And I go, how long of odds would you have given me 7 hours ago that I'd be stuck more than you at this juncture of the night?
Right.
And he hadn't made any headway. He was probably down 10K more at that point than he was after the pot. So it swung the other way. I lost a 120K pot, kings versus ace king, all in pre.
Yeah.
You know what you should have done?
Won that pot?
No, when you were up, you should have just taken knee, mate. You know, sometimes you just gotta take a day off. You gotta go home.
I waited for kings. I got it first ace king. How much of a knee can he take?
No, he's gotta go home, like Lennon says. You know,
no,
he's gotta get out of there.
Couldn't go home. I was winning when the game was good, and I was losing when the game was also still good. Which is a nice recipe for a 20-hour session.
That's exactly what that equals. Landon, what's your longest session?
Not even close to that.
Probably like 3 hours.
Man, when I was your age, I definitely played like an entire weekend straight.
For live, not that long. But like online Sundays have been long, like 18, 19, 20-hour sessions sometimes.
I have
like starting at like 8 a.m. and then ending at like 4 a.m. if you're playing on like the WSOP schedule or whatever, and it was bracelet time.
I've gotten 7 days dealing and playing different games without sleeping.
What? Sounds terrible.
Yes.
That sounds like a
that's
terrible
not
idea.
humanly
I was going to say, it doesn't sound possible.
The only thing without the sleeping part might have been like a 30-minute nap, like literally 30 minutes on my break, but that's it.
I don't know, man.
I tell you, ask Oski.
How long can a human being physically stay awake before their body just shuts down?
Like I played like 12
I
hours.
don't think it's 7 days.
Like I played like 12-hour sessions live and stuff.
It's a long
like,
time, man.
Back when I was playing like 1-2 and in Coconut Creek and all that, would get to the casino at 6. Dalton would come with me. I would leave at 6, and I would win like $800 and feel like that was everything.
Oh yeah, I mean, it mattered. I remember.
I've done the same playing 1-2. I've sat for like 12, 13, 14 hours.
Mm-hmm.
Why 1-2? Out of curiosity, is it just like that's like where you're at in your journey when you're playing?
He wants to win.
I don't know. That's a good question. I just remember being there forever.
Yeah, I only ask why 1-2 because I'm trying to pair it with like where you were at that time in your career. Like, was it brand new to you?
No, this is maybe like a year ago.
Okay, yeah, that's the reason why I asked, because it strikes me as more odd if you're rake aware to put in that many hours at that particular stake. Like that's something like Pinochle Club when we used to play in Erie, unbeatable.
Right.
And I had the stats to prove it. It was the only place I never won. They were raking infinite.
Yeah.
And the game was the softest game in the world,
So
but they
soft.
were raking so much. It was absolutely unbeatable. And I used to get mad because I would never stop going until I finally stopped going.
Right.
But converse to that was Salamanca, which was a 5-5 game with $5 time every half hour. Very beatable.
Yes.
And I remember my longest session there was I drove up after class on a Friday. I'm pretty sure I was solo. And they'd kicked the game to 5-10 that weekend. So it was 5-10. I still think we paid $5 in time. I don't think it was even more.
That's dope.
I started the game Friday afternoon at like 4 p.m. and I played round the clock until Monday morning at like 6 a.m.
Is this when you called me like halfway through the session, like in the middle of the night? It might have been like midnight or something. You're like, I'm stuck. I don't know what to do. And I'm like, you're like, the game's good. I'm like, just keep playing. And then you end up getting all the money back.
I ended up playing Truck Driver Ronnie, RIP, heads up for like 4 hours until people. So there was a window between Friday and Saturday where the full ring game broke at like 3 or 4 a.m. and nobody was coming back until like 8 a.m. So there was this like 4 hour window where I could either figure out a way to like keep the game alive or leave. And Ronnie was happy to like play me heads up. And I think one other person might have either stayed or came back. So we might have been playing like 3-way for a while. When it was all said and done, I think I left like late Sunday night, early Sunday morning, like maybe 2 a.m. Sunday, or I guess going Monday at that point. So I had been playing for like 70 hours straight. When it was all said and done, I remember because it was a $5 chip game. I had 9 racks and I put them on a drink cart. I remember it was the only time I had ever tipped the floor there, which is crazy. I just didn't know any better.
Right.
Like, but it's crazy to think that was like our home room back then, and we just never tipped.
Right.
I gave a $100 tip to the floor person to help me wheel it over because I'd won like $6,500.
Insane.
And it was almost all in red.
Yeah.
God, I wish I had a picture of that. It was like good camera phones.
Right.
like
Yeah. Might have had a flip phone or
World
something.
Series back in the day when you didn't get to color up anything.
Bro, I've always been a 40 chip stacker.
I know, it makes me very unhappy.
Why do people hate that
I
so
told
much?
Conrad the same thing. Like I saw Joanne's chips the other day, and she does the same thing. It drives me crazy.
That's because Joanne's an alpha. She fucking puts it out.
It just seems arrogant.
Exactly.
It seems arrogant. Yeah.
It's efficient.
No, the 40 stack is just like, why? Just color up or a 20 stack.
I'm going to be different than everyone else. I'm going to do it in the most aggressive way. Fuck you.
Egregious. Yeah.
I need to have a stack of chips on top so I can play with. I need to be at least a 2 stacker so I can play with the chips. So I like 40.
I love 40.
What about people that stack them in 10s?
I mean, that's fine too.
They're great because they're losing.
I think it depends on how.
Chance does that. That's Chance's thing.
It's easy to count depending. So it makes more sense for tournaments than cash, obviously.
What, for 10s?
I don't care
Or
what you
for-
stack your chips in. I can tell you your count within seconds.
Yeah. That's because you've played a lot of live poker.
As I tell everybody else, as I'm pointing out or telling whatever, calculating bets real quick, I'm always like, yeah, I've paid a lot of people off, unfortunately.
What do you mean?
That's how I know like how much somebody has like immediately. Like it's just like, oh, it's 346. They're like, what the fuck? It's like,
It is funny,
unfortunately.
but like it's easier to count chip stacks like the more there are, like in tournaments. I feel like because you just see a whole bunch of like 20 stacks, it's easy to count it up. But then when someone has like these big chips, and then you're like, is that 4? Is that 6? If you're across the table, you don't know, and it's a big difference if it's the bigger chips. And
Yeah, I'm with
so
you.
like, yeah,
Well, particularly once it's one single working stack, now it doesn't matter how many of them there are.
right,
Because you just know.
Right.
But that's my problem with smaller stacks is that they vary.
yeah,
When it's for sure when it's sub 20, it could be anything.
mm-hmm.
And now there aren't going to be comparable ones.
Well,
of
that's
that.
what the That's what the 10 stacks are for. It's like you have 16 chips instead of having like this one stack of 16.
Oh, I feel so bad for tournament players, man.
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying like you just have to make physical work in order to
You
count
guys
them
just always
easier.
have these dusty ass fucking little stacks. It's so boring.
Yeah, you can't. You don't have. You never have 40 chips in front of you, physical chips,
Right.
to actually have a 40
Right.
stack.
You really don't.
Or it's just one long stack.
It's really funny because I never buy in with black chips. Like this is a hard rule of mine. Is I just never buy in with the
lowest.
denomination of the blinds.
Yeah.
Because like you'll just win those chips, and there's always way too fucking many of them on the table. Everybody brings
Slows the game down.
way too, like if you have more than one stack of blind chips in the game that you're playing, you're an asshole. Like if you butt in for more than one stack, right? And it never fails. Somebody comes with a rack of black.
Yeah.
Like what the fuck are you going to do with are you going to make a $10,000 bet and push that whole fucking pyramid in? I hate you.
Like the guys that would come to like the table with like 60 in one, like if you're playing like the small stakes, right? And they come with like 60 like in $1 chips because they think like, oh well, this will
It'll last me.
Yeah, it will. Well, like the dealer won't have to get a fill as much, so that will
Right.
make the game faster. But like you're slowing it down in the meantime, so you probably either breaking
Yeah.
even or making it.
Oh, they're making change
slower.
every fucking. It's brutal or breaking down. It's so brutal. But the irony where I was going with this is win or lose, no matter what, win or lose. I always have almost all the black chips in front of me.
Yeah.
And it's so frustrating because like so
We've seen those pictures.
the other night when we went to Heads Up, I had 20K in black. So I have like
You never color it up. Or if you color it up, then there's not enough black.
That's so much work.
It's not even that. It's
Yeah.
just that I have $200,000 in front of me, so this 20K is just out of play anyway.
Right.
But it's like it's structuring the rest of my pyramid.
That's true. Yeah. You need a foundation.
important.
right? I
it's
understand.
holding the yellows
Right.
and the purples
Right.
and the whites in place.
It's your bricks, if you will.
Right. Yeah. So I have an entire pyramid of black. And I'm just like, God, this is every day, 2 fucking racks of black, and I'm stuck $150,000.
They're the redliner chips.
Would you fucking guys start putting bigger chips in the pot? Like,
Yeah.
what the hell's going on here? I'm just winning every $600 pot.
Yep.
This is
The
brutal.
redliners win the blinds.
That's true. That is true. I mean, if ever there was an indicator of what I am at my core,
Yeah.
it's seeing that stack.
See that at the end of the night during a tournament, I color down, right? So then when I get to the next table, they think I'm a maniac,
Right.
Right? Because I have all these like the smallest denomination chips. This guy's still in blinds left and right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And then
play
you just tortoise
tight
it
as
up.
nails. Yep. Get them.
Oh man.
Get aces, in the first orbit, and you just double up.
Respect.
Pro
Respect
tip for
to that,
everybody.
We don't respect that at all. What are you talking
No,
about?
you're right. We don't.
That was a joke.
All right, let's get a little bit into the weekend happenings. Before we do that, we popped another clue off for you guys that are trying to win. There you go. Excellent soundboard.
Respect.
For those of you that are trying to win the Gold Pass for the NAPT, Landon even came with the appropriate hat today, which you got to appreciate that. So for those of you who don't know what a Gold Pass is, it's valued at $10,000. It's a $5,300 buy-in to the NAPT main event, which, if you guys recall, was $1,600 last year. But this is the original buy-in price point that they've always done, and it looks like this is what they're going to adhere to moving forward. $3 million guarantee on this event, and Stars is putting in 100 Gold Pass winners. So guys like us just giving them away to their audience. Rob Gronkowski did a giveaway. I know that Nick Wright did a giveaway. I think Poker News is currently issuing a giveaway if you want to pop over there and try your hand at winning another one. Also, there's the Poker.org new version of Runner. Not sure what that is, but apparently only 2 people are on par to win that Gold Pass over there. So be sure to put your hat in the ring if you have the chance. Anyway, $5,300 entry into the main event. It's $1,800 in travel expenses, so they'll give you cold hard cash when you get here, as well as 7 nights accommodation in Resorts World for anybody who has a Gold Pass. There's also another caveat. You get to try out for the loose cannon. Wow. So this is an additional aspect of it. And if you're unlucky enough to not win a Gold Pass, you still have a chance to qualify to be the loose cannon. So for those of you who don't know what the loose cannon is, that is the player that they give $50,000 cold hard cash to play the big game with. Now, you don't get to keep the $50K, you only get to keep what you win, but nevertheless, you get the opportunity to play 100 or 200 against some of the greatest as well as some of the most famous high stakes players around.
For free.
For free, yeah. They're running 3 satellites for these qualifiers at Resorts World. Looks like it's going to be Wednesday, October 30th, Thursday, October 31st, and Monday, November 4th. That's at 4 p.m. on the 30th, 11 a.m. on the 31st or the 1st. I can't remember.
See you there.
And then 10 a.m. on November 4th. So be sure if you're in town to give yourself a shot to qualify. I will hopefully be in one of the lineups, so you can try to come get some Berkey bucks.
So it'll be 2 loose cannons.
Nice.
Yeah, maybe 3 if Keating's in there again.
But, Stars is not giving you money.
No. Unfortunately, it's our own, which is a little bit painful, but nevertheless.
You think we can get Gronk on the show?
I'm not holding out hope, but anything is possible.
That would be cool.
If you
That
get
would
me-
be cool.
If I win, I'm in Gronk's lineup. He'll be on the show.
There you go.
There you go.
I'll get him.
All right, Connie.
I'm telling
He'll
you.
burn 50K to do it, but he'll get him.
Oh,
Who?
hey, big day for us. Efro finally followed the Only Friends podcast.
Holy shit!
My
Oh my God!
Unbelievable.
On Twitter. Wow.
He finally got over all these years of rejection that you've been, throwing shade at him
I
and
didn't say he's
stuff.
following me.
No.
He's following the podcast. But yes, if you guys want to check out the clues for this Gold Pass giveaway, head over to @onlyfriends_pod. Today's clue number 3. We'll be putting out 5 total clues. The final clue will be this Thursday, and the announcing of the winner will be next Monday, October 21st. So clue 3 that you see here is the Bicycle Casino.
Yeah.
Now, I have a further hint for you guys, for anybody who's tuning in to get that hint. What do you know about the Bicycle Casino in NAPT? Anything? No, I'm asking you guys.
Oh.
Yeah, I know
Okay, you know what?
the answer.
Well, say it.
No, don't say the answer. Say,
I'm just asking, man.
I don't know.
I'm just asking a simple question. What correlates between the Bicycle Casino and NAPT?
The NAPT has been at the Bicycle Casino.
That's right, it has. NAPT had visited.
That was so hard to say.
The answer was so obvious that, like...
But he just wouldn't fucking give it to me.
I know the answer.
Well, no, I know
What are we doing here?
All right.
the way you said it, like, it was just like, what, that, like... It was,
No, I knew that was
like,
that
there
was
was,
the group.
there was going to be something more than that.
Okay, anyway. The bike has hosted the NAPT
That was insane.
in the past. The other stops that have hosted have been the Bahamas, Venetian in Las Vegas, and Mohegan Sun in Connecticut. But there's something very unique about the bike. The bike is the only location to host it once. That is very important to this clue.
How many times, Matt?
One time.
One time. Okay.
One time.
Okay.
For anybody listening. They've hosted one time. Did I mention one
One time.
time?
One.
One time.
Single time.
You know when people say one time on the block, everybody starts running?
Why?
That means the cops are coming.
police.
Oh, why do you two know that so
When
well?
they say one time at the poker table,
Conrad knew the
they're probably
answer.
down to their last card.
So take that clue and make of it what you will. Again, this will all probably make sense, I hope, when all 5 clues are out. We'll be giving you another clue tomorrow. That'll be clue number 4. And then clue 5 will come out on Thursday. I'll probably give you guys another hint on Friday, assuming we don't have a winner.
You
by
were
then.
Conrad.
Right, yeah. Maybe Conrad will. And then Monday, we will announce the winner and hopefully give them a ring here on the pod to let them know that they are victorious and will be joining us in Vegas. Stay tuned for that.
Efer said enough of your bullshit. I was the first follower of the pod, LOL. I literally misclicked on follow and refollow when trying to sign up for the clue alerts.
All right, fine.
That makes so much more sense.
All I saw is Eric Froelich followed you. And I said, whoa. Brother hasn't been following?
Made it.
Damn.
All right, fine.
He literally has not missed the show.
I won't gaslight it anymore. I'm sorry. So we got to attend the Steeler game this past weekend.
Yes, we did.
It was all a big plan for the weekend warrior. Nonetheless, Lavanna and I were gonna scoop our fucking picks. You can see
Having a good time. Having a blast. A lot of Steeler fans there.
Okay, let's talk about this because the first
conspiracy?
thing that we noticed was that it was really fucking loud when the Steelers were on defense.
Yes.
And it's like, what's going? Or sorry, when the Steelers were on offense.
Right.
And it's like, what the hell is going on here? Like, there's no look around. It's black and gold as far as the eye can see.
I mean, even if it was 50-50, and that's probably being generous, I think there were more Steeler fans there. It was much louder when the Steelers were on offense as the other way around.
Right. And it was.
How can that be?
And it was very. What's the word I'm looking for?
Is it because they played offense this time?
No, Landon. Don't try to guess. You don't know what's going on here.
Connor knows the answer.
Actually, I do. They pumped sound into the building.
He does know. The noise was very. What's the word I'm looking for? Manufactured.
Fake. Yeah, manufactured.
It was very.
It felt manufactured.
It did not sound like people.
Right.
It did not sound like something that was coming out of us, in spite of the fact that it did replicate a crowd roaring. Very clear it was audio.
Was it like annoying in moment? Because I can see that sound being annoying.
It was very difficult for the quarterbacks.
I'm telling you too. Like in between plays or a timeout or something, somebody accidentally hit.
Yeah,
hit the
Lamanna
switch.
caught it.
I caught it. I was like, listen, did you hear that? I was like, it just all of a sudden like the PA system sounded like it was like, and then stopped. I was like, they just hit the button at the wrong time. They're sons of bitches.
And it had a very gentle like rise and fall to it. That was very like inauthentic.
Right, exactly.
Now, if you want to hear some real goddamn crowd noise, this is how they show up.
It's 22-7 too. This game is cooked.
Look at all those people fucking waving their great grandfather's cum rag.
That's a home game for the Raiders.
Right.
I've been to Steeler games that aren't that loud. The only difference between this and playing at Heinz Field is they didn't play Renegade.
Right. They should have.
They should have. Truthfully, they should just give up. And you know what else this was? This interception that we're seeing right here? This was one of 6 legs in my parlay that came through.
What?
Yeah. Had Aiden O'Connell over.
Oh! You had more than 6 legs in your parlay, though.
No, I had 6.
It was one of them.
That was one of them.
Oh, okay.
I locked that one. I locked the Steelers -3.
Oh, yeah.
I locked Aiden O'Connell over 150 yards. I locked Fields anytime touchdown.
You got 2.
He did get 2. And I almost fucking locked the last 2. Fields threw for 145 yards.
Oh, man.
I was waiting for a stat correction to get it to 150. Unfortunately, it didn't get there. Even crazier for the Sweat. Their last possession, we're like, they're just going to take a knee or they're just going to run the ball or whatever. They're on the 3, and they hand the ball off.
You need 5 yards.
I need 5 yards
And
for it to go over.
they're on the opposing 3, so you can only get 3.
I can only get 3. They hand the ball off, loses 2 yards.
Yep.
And so we're like, well, it doesn't matter. They're still just going to run the ball and kick the field goal. No. Next play,
Screen pass.
Fields drops back and misses Pickens in the end zone.
No, he didn't miss him. Pickens missed
he
him.
dropped it.
Listen,
Yeah.
and then, of course, my weekend warrior pick, I had Pickens anytime touchdown. It's right there in his hands. And
Wait,
he's just like,
so you guys mean to tell me that you both would have won your fucking bets if you caught that?
Well,
I'm so happy.
No. I still would have been a dog. The Raiders would have had to have answered with a touchdown.
Yeah.
right.
Which wasn't ever going to happen.
It kind of would have been funny if the only leg you would have lost was like a pro Raiders.
Right. So to be clear, that leg was the Raiders plus 16.
Or actually, it would be pro, but yeah.
I tried to middle the line of the game.
Right.
And somehow the Steelers have their first fucking blowout in the last 20 years.
They played offense.
Well, sort of. They only threw for 145 yards.
Yeah, but Fields.
They really played defense. The defense led to 3 scores.
Exactly.
Najee higher.
Najee had a
fumble, an interception. They had a lot of
2 fumble recoveries, a pick, and a blocked field goal, all getting short fields.
Right, short fields, and then
cashed in.
And then cashing in on them, yeah.
Fields looked great as a running back. Najee also looked great as a running back.
Actually looked great.
Had a blast there. But Lamanna and I, unfortunately, did die in our weekend warriors.
It's okay. We had a great time.
We had a fucking blast. Lamanna had maybe a little better time than me.
Well, that was always
as
going to happen.
always.
That was always gonna happen.
As to be expected. Connie, did you cash in?
Nope. Unfortunately, Washington did not get it done. But
Wait.
But-
You're telling me.
All right, listen, dumbasses. You want to know the thing? I actually took the L on my weekend warrior on Saturday because I said I'd much rather Washington lose and the Baltimore Ravens move on because that was our survivor.
That's true.
Circa.
Yeah.
So I made the call. And I told Vegas, I was like, yo, listen, I need Baltimore. So you know what? Cancel that.
Wait, but
and they canceled it.
okay.
So don't worry. So that, whatever. I just took the wash for the week.
Okay.
I lost $100.
I know
we
you're saving
move on.
face. I know you're saving face. But like, can we just spend 1 second on the fact that you teased Washington down to -9?
What's your point?
No, it was -5.5.
Sorry, -5.
What's your point?
-5.5, and they had to score 31 points.
The next time they see him, it's a lock. You know.
And then you also had. Who was the other one in there? You had Houston or something? They won. They probably covered.
Yeah, Houston won.
Do you think that Washington is going to score 31 points against any?
They scored 23.
What are you talking about?
Let me finish my fucking sentence.
Yes. The answer is
Against
yes.
any playoff-bound team this season?
Yes.
Yeah.
23 is close, right?
Absolutely.
23 is close to 31.
Close.
It's not.
They could score. 31 points against
they might have already done
Atlanta
it.
or Tampa Bay or.
They might have already done it.
You think the Bucks could score 50 points?
No, that's an anomaly.
Yeah.
If I were betting against, I would not take Tampa Bay to have 54 points.
By the way, that game was fucking insane. How does New Orleans come out and score 27 points in the second quarter and not score again?
Listen, man, they were doing it for the Hurricane.
This shit was wild.
Right. I think they're really all just
Tampa needed
I think they're all just rallying behind Baker to give the biggest fuck you in the world to Cleveland.
Yeah.
Like, have you ever seen anything as abysmal? I know we're Pirates fans, but have you ever seen anything as abysmal as the Cleveland Browns? Like, as Pirate fans, at least we're the fucking bargain bin of baseball.
Right.
You know, we can point to ownership and just say, these guys don't spend any fucking money.
Right.
Cleveland has a quarterback getting $300 and some million who cannot outperform Joe Flacco.
You know, it's so strange. Like when he was on Houston, he was good.
Yeah, but he was a fucking young talent with a ton of talent around him.
Was he good or was D-Hop that good?
He had D-Hop. He had a fucking stellar backfield. Good. I mean, look at what CJ's done since he left. You know, CJ just plugs right into that system, has done really well, too.
It's not like they don't have
Derek Carr was there before him.
Right, but like, I mean, obviously not this year, but, you know, they had Nick Chubb who's great, and Cooper who's really good.
They have talent.
Like,
I'm not trying to sell Cleveland short.
Yeah.
They're obviously
He just regressed
misfits.
really bad. Like, he just fell off. I don't know.
Well, he sat out a season.
Yeah.
Had a lot of legal problems.
Of course.
Not someone that I would want to touch in free agency personally.
No.
But I will say this, and maybe I'm being a bit of a homer. Had he gotten the tutelage of Mike Tomlin instead of whatever the fuck they're doing in Cleveland, I think he could ball out.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
know?
it's just like
we fix problems
it's
here.
It's the Cleveland curse.
That's it. Well, it's not just a curse; it's a decision. You know, it's a choice at this
Cleveland's
point.
a choice.
Landon, you lost also.
I did. I went 0 for 3.
You went. You cooked on the Panthers, huh?
No, I chose the Eagles minus, and I chose Saquon anytime touchdown, and then Saquon higher than receiving rushing yards. But the Browns played good defense and could not score because I'd rather have lost, and the Browns won for Survivor.
Oh God, yes.
My God, that was so close.
That would have been huge.
Did anybody not make it through in
Yes,
Survivor?
4 people that
5,
chose.
I think 5.
Wait, there's only 188 left.
5 people. Well, 4 people chose the Titans and they lost because the Colts won, and then 1 person chose the Jaguars and they lost to the Bears.
Right.
Okay.
So they're out.
5. So we're down to 216.
Everybody else won.
Yeah, I think Conrad's wrong.
When I just looked at the Atlas thing, it said 188.
Yeah, well,
left.
Atlas-
I think that might be 188 unique people.
Correct.
Okay.
yeah,
and
that's
then
correct.
total entries.
That makes sense.
That's correct.
Because somebody put all 6 of their
Yeah.
choices on the Eagles, and they almost had a heart attack.
God,
Fly Eagles fly.
And I mean, I think like this is going to happen, especially when, you know, the biggest favorite of the week, you know, has 50% of the field left has them. Like, you're going to just have these weeks where like all the favorites win, because we had so many weeks where, you know,
Well, it's not just
chalk got killed.
Yeah, it's not just the biggest favorite winning it. Every favorite won.
Right. Yeah.
Right across the
Yes,
board, there was
yes.
like no. There was no
There were no
contrarian
upsets.
pick,
Right.
Like we took a contrarian pick with
Yeah.
Baltimore because it was low ownership.
Yeah.
They won. Like everybody Everybody, even
That's good. That's gonna happen from time
we
to
should have
time.
taken the Steelers.
The Steelers were chosen by like 2 people.
Yeah,
Yep.
2 smart individuals.
I thought you
Although-
wanted to save the Steelers.
Well, I do. Listen, I love the Steelers versus the Giants week 8. The problem is I also think that it's going to be a high percentage pick.
That's at the Giants.
No, it's not.
No, home. Yeah. Not that it would matter. I would pick against, honestly, if we just picked against the Giants and Panthers the rest of the season and throw the Browns in the mix on good weeks, I feel pretty good.
I wouldn't feel that great about picking against the Giants.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
No,
this
listen,
Giants
when
are-
Neighbors gets back, they're a fucking decent team. They have a very tough defense.
Neighbors
They have
are-
Ryan
I agree
Burns.
with
Singletary questionable.
Conrad. I agree with Conrad. I
You
don't.
have these stupid ass takes,
Yeah.
but like they have a very good defense. They have
They
a
do.
solid
They do.
core, and like
I
they
don't
just need to
care.
learn.
They played good against the Bengals
Cleveland
yesterday.
has a very good defense also. I don't care.
Cleveland also has a good defense. The Giants have good defense, but they can't
Giants are
score.
brand new together. Like they just like
I think the
defense is
Giants
new
are better
together.
than a lot of people think they are.
They are.
Yeah, I agree with you.
And like Neighbors is one of the best
I'm not
receivers in the
saying
league.
I'm not saying they're like like a
Don't get me wrong.
championship team or something.
No,
like that,
the
but-
problem is Daniel Jones. Like if Daniel Jones plays good that week, we
Yeah.
win.
Yeah.
Like it's just that's what it comes down to.
The kicker didn't play too good for you yesterday.
Nah, he fucked us. He fucked us.
I mean, they played good against the Bengals yesterday. You watched this.
No, I'm
They played
I don't know
decent.
about the Giants. They're going to win 4 games this year. Maybe 5
Well, they have 2 already.
Right. Right.
They might win more.
I'll bet.
You bet higher than 4.5.
I would bet over 4.
I said 5, and I'll.
You said 4 or 5.
So I'm giving you 4.5.
He did say 4.
Why?
You
Because
said
you said
4 or
four.
5.
Why are you lowballing me? If I say 4 or 5, why do I have to accept
I'm not
the lowball?
lowballing you. I'm giving you 4.5.
You realize 4.5 is
4.
over 4.
You just meet me in
Higher
the
than
middle.
4.
Higher.
I'm losing my mind just a little.
Well, because if it's 4,
so why
you win.
don't you
It's
just
5,
meet
I
me
win.
in the middle.
That is not at all. That's just giving me the lower choice.
Yeah.
It's 100% lowballing me.
but 5 is
Berkey's right. I'm going to take your side just to take your side, but Berkey's right.
But 5 is a push. Why would I give you 5.5? Why would I give you better?
5 is not a push. 5 is a loss.
For who?
For me.
Yes, exactly. You said 4 or 5.
Right. So why am I losing on something I'm predicting?
He's saying that they'll win 5 games. So why would he?
He said 4 or 5. So
Because
you,
you-
but so,
listen,
but
it's
like,
it's this easy. Berkey said 4 or 5, so he's in that range. You offer 4.5, he can accept or decline. He doesn't have to
He's
take the
declining
bet.
because he's talking out of his ass saying
I would
4.
not take them at 5.5 or whatever it was.
Exactly.
I would do 4.5. If you wanted to make that bet, I would make that bet with you. If you don't, then there's no bet.
It's just all very greedy. At least offer me 5. At least I get the
5
push
is a
on the upper
push.
range of
5
what I'm
is a
saying.
push.
Like you
That's-
guys are selfish. Like you guys.
How is it selfish? Because I want the line that I think is what is winning. I don't want to take a line that I don't think is winning.
Because the point you're both trying to make is that I'm talking out of my ass.
You are by
No.
saying 4 and you know it.
4 or 5 cannot be talking out of my ass if you think the true line is 4.5.
to be honest with you
I never
guys,
said anything about you talking out of your ass. I just said I think that they're going to win more than 4 games.
it's gonna be.
Are
Close.
you going to give us money or not?
It's gonna be very very close if they do win 5 games. Honestly.
Anyways, moving on. These are the totals as of today.
Guapo lost 2.
Yeah, what'd you do, Guap? You lost too?
Yeah,
You're
lost
still up there.
Platt
Look at
always on
Platt.
top.
My God, Platt won again.
I gotta go all in this week so I can catch
Dude,
up
this
to
guy
him.
is so freaking sharp. He took
Cal plus
Cal
3.
plus 3 at Pitt, and they lost by 2.
Yeah.
Just so smart.
I mean,
God,
Who
how's
are
he
you
do it?
texting?
Don't worry about it.
So mind your fucking business, bro. Yeah.
Why would you cut to me when
I
I'm
gotta go
texting?
all I gotta go all in this week.
Seemed like a good shot.
It's reminding me of the Halloween when Melissa was you. So sorry, guys. I was on an argument on Twitter.
I'm in an argument in this room. There's
Yeah.
a difference.
Higher than 4.5 or not?
You're an absolute
5.
chode.
Fine, I'll give you 5.
Yes, I'll take 5.
Fine, $100. I
Okay,
wanted my
booked.
$100 back.
Booked.
Hish scammed me.
I scammed Hish. I offered him, or I asked him to lay 2 to 1 that the Steelers would win by 9 or more, and he gave it to me.
Good.
They won by more.
They won by more.
They won by more.
I thought he'd be on Love Island. He lied.
Oh man, you're so dumb.
Man,
So naive.
Why
You're,
would
not,
he
you're
put-
not dumb. You're naive.
why else would he put that on his story? But to be cool?
You
Sick
bought
flex,
it.
bro.
You bought it.
Yeah, I did. That's why I got scammed.
Think of all the girl followers that he has. They're like, oh my God, are you going to be on Love is Blind? Oh my God.
It's almost a red flag if you're on
Maybe
Love
he'll
is
take
Blind.
me out. No, it's a green flag. It indicates he doesn't care about looks.
Virtue
Oh
signal.
yeah, trust me. I know how these games work. You got to get in the streets more, kid.
I'm good right where I'm at.
Speaking of the streets, let's get in the muck.
All right, we have another user submission. I believe they are playing. We put this one in last week, so I don't remember.
2-5 with a
exact
$10
details.
straddle.
Yeah, that's right. It was a $10 straddle. And you have it up?
Yep, give me 1 second. I'm setting it up.
It's a hijack open to 30, small blind 3-bet, very, very large, if I recall correctly.
It was like 15 blinds, I think. I think so. It went 30, folded to us in the cutoff. We opened to 30.
Hijack.
Oh, sorry, hijack. That's
Yeah.
right. Yeah, Matt L. Thank you, Matt L. for the submission. Yeah, so they opened to 30 and then folded to the small
Oh, it
blind.
wasn't that big.
Who makes it 150. Yeah, so 15 blinds because there is a button straddle.
Right.
We go ahead and call. Flop comes king of diamonds, 8 of hearts, 6 of hearts. They lead 125 into 315. We go ahead and call. The turn is the ace of diamonds. They lead again 250 into 565. We call, and then the river is the 10 of clubs, and now they check. And we decide to take our second pair and bluff it all in for 675 into 1065.
Don't do that.
Don't do that. Yeah, so it's
You
funny
want to have
'cause-
like a 9 or a 7, not
Right.
a king or a queen.
Right, exactly. Yeah, and especially like, you're kind of in the middle of your range here. Again, it's like this is not a hand that you want to
10-9 would be a
bluffing.
good bluff, I think.
Yeah. I mean, your hand's it's like it's too good to bluff, right? Like you have showdown value. It seems unnecessary.
Yeah, I don't even know if we have 10-9, but if we do, I feel like that would be a
10
good
out of
bluff.
hearts.
Yeah, 10 out of hearts, I guess.
There you go.
I don't know.
Maybe if we get sticky with like 7, 8, 8, 9.
Yeah.
Those hands seem good.
We were showing, we were plugging it into the replayer, and Guapo was watching, and he said immediately he recognized that this is not a bluff candidate, because I know sometimes Guap you want to
Way too good.
Yeah, because you showed some
I
hands.
have a habit of doing the same
Right,
thing.
right,
Turning hands that
exactly.
are, like in the middle of your range into bluffs that you
Right.
shouldn't.
So
I think it's really common.
it was great to recognize that.
Yeah, I think the notion of merging is one where people fall victim to it very quickly when they understand they need to be bluffing more often and find bluffs, but haven't really developed the instincts or the rote memorization of where bluffs come from. It's very easy to fall down the rabbit hole of just like merging, because you know that you don't win often enough through check back. Sorry, not often enough. You do win often enough, but you
Doesn't feel that way.
You have a feeling that you lose too often by checking back, not recognizing that the hand you're actually trying to get the fold is your hand.
Right.
Like when you jam, you want to try to fold a king,
Right.
not an ace.
Yeah.
I don't think
They're not
ace
gonna
X
fold it.
becomes very indifferent here.
Yeah.
Right. Like and the other thing is like a lot of your bluffs will actually want to fold like a potential 10 that was rifling off, like a jack 10, a queen 10 type of hand that now has a little bit of showdown value, so it decides to shut it down. And you have a hand like 8x or 7-5. Like you just want to fold out these weakish pairs. Ace X probably, I mean, we'll look at it, but I would be shocked if much Ace X is indifferent here through this line.
Yeah. It's only a 3 or 2/4 or 2/3
2/3. Yeah.
pot bet on the river, so you don't have to be right that often.
Right.
Yeah, it's be pretty hard pressed to bet check and then be indifferent with ace X when you're potentially just going to jam yourself when you have a hand like ace queen.
Well, I guess that's kind of the tricky thing, right? Is like how much ace X actually checks here. Maybe some of the ace queen, ace jacks check for protection's sake of your check range.
Well, then if he's not checking, he's jamming for value
Wait, who?
in position.
Oh, no. What I'm getting at is like maybe C2, the small blind, checks a hand like ace queen or ace jack in order to induce some of the
Yes.
time. But I don't know that theory is going to agree with that.
Right.
So it's like maybe there is no ace X that checks, in which case now it's even crazier to jam king queen, because like you just beat everything. Like you just check back and win a lot,
Well,
unless you're jamming for value.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, right.
Is if you expect an ace to be all in for the out of position player on the end, you're jamming for value to get called by King Jack of Hearts or Jack 10 of Hearts that river to pair and didn't know what to do. But you're kind of just all over the place with that logic.
Yeah. And I think it's also pretty clear to expect that some of the time Ace-X will miss its value jam here.
Or he'll
especially
have
at these stakes.
like ace wheel.
Exactly. They shouldn't have double barreled, but did, and now it finds itself too weak and checks to call kind of thing.
I would check and win a lot.
Right.
Versus bet and do this.
Yeah. Okay. So let's go back to the flop decision. What did he start off with here? 3/4 pot, I think.
It was like half.
It was half.
It was 125 into like 305.
Okay, so like
B40 into 305.
Yeah, so basically B40. You can see that 25% in half pot here are commonly used.
Like range 40 probably.
Yeah, you could probably just like range 40 here. We'll go the half pot route. So sizing is decent. And the exact hand that we have here, king queen of, I mean all king queen calls, but king queen of spades pure call.
I was only saying something because if there's a two sizing strategy, it's going to impact the range for the out of position player.
You're just saying it's going to be like somewhat tighter.
Well, he's probably just going to range bet for his size
I see what
versus
you're
playing two sizes because the solve will bucket for two.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think that 49% is.
It's like 40%.
I think it's 3E, but we'll just change it to 40 since that's what he chose.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll go B40 single size. You can see we're not going to play much in the way of raises. Now, raises do get in there a little bit because it's a range bet rather than a split range.
That's if you're trapping aces pre.
Right, which is in here full, which we got to go back to that. Why? I guess it's just because of the pre-flop depth, like aces just trap in full. But I went with the pre-fill here of 3-bet. Hijack for a small blind. Damn it. So finicky. 3-bet pot. See if it spits out the same range. Oops. Why can't I
click it?
I am. Oops. It's not letting me. This is a new interface, by the way. I've never seen this interface before.
This is new to everyone.
Yeah, that's weird. I've how to edit ranges. I shouldn't have to. Why can't I edit this range?
Can you click the hijack drop down?
Yeah, but that changes position.
Yeah. Interesting.
Something is awry.
Well,
which is annoying because
maybe that's when you choose the pre-fill versus
no, it's always pre-fill.
It's true. I don't know. That's unfortunate.
Yeah, it's a little frustrating because now we're gonna have more traps in impositions range than he otherwise would have. I imagine he just doesn't have aces and ace king this often, or even kings.
I guess you can just lock aces to raising full, so it's not in the
when
call
it calls,
node.
yeah, I like that. That's a good way of going about it.
Yeah.
So let's go set strategy, raise 100, and we'll go aces.
Kings don't exist, I would imagine. So just raise
Right.
kings in full.
And honestly, like let's raise ace king like 90% because it's probably just not there.
Right.
The ace king trap just doesn't come through enough.
Yeah.
Okay. You smart. Good fix. Moving on.
Modern problems must have modern solutions.
There you go. Let's make sure it doesn't change. Okay, good. So it doesn't change that. That's good. Okay, so now we continue through a call, which ironically now it changes king queen suited to a raise some of the time, but I don't think that's going to matter much. What happened?
You didn't click call.
Why did it reset? God damn it. It's Monday, boys.
Yeah.
It's Monday. What is going on here? User error.
You're going to have to
I'm
do
gonna
it again.
I know. It's very annoying. That's strat 100. Sorry. Never do math on air. You guys know how it goes.
Never bueno, never bueno.
Let's lock king queen.
Yeah.
Okay, we try again. Call. There we go. Turn was the ace of diamonds.
Yep.
Cool.
Feels like it's going to be a big bet turn or check for them.
He bets 250.
Yeah.
Okay, so 250 is like hedging a bit, but
Yeah.
basically like half pot again. You can see that the actual strategy here is a little bit of small betting, more than you would expect, but I guess he's so king X dense that starts to make a fair amount of practical sense. Let's just single size it down to the size that he chose, which he bet 25 blinds, so we can just do it the easy way. Oh wait,
No, he bet 25 blinds.
oh,
That's 25%. The first one is
that
25%.
is quarter. Okay. All right, so he just goes with the block bet. My apologies.
No, he bet 25 into 565.
He bet 250 into
Or 250 into
555.
565, yeah.
He bet 40%.
Yeah.
Right. Right. There
The
we go.
difference was one was 25 bigs and the other one was 25% pot.
Yes, you're correct.
Yeah.
I realize that now. Okay. So yeah,
You need to get some sleep.
I did. I slept for
You need
16
to-
hours.
You need to sleep more.
All right. So
Your brain
he's
is
going to go
broken.
with 46% pot.
And now you just play big-ish better check, like you check aces because you block too much.
We obviously still have another clear call here with king queen. That's a no-brainer. Actually, I want to see what else he's calling with here that we could potentially be converting into a bluff on the river. So you see 8-7 of diamonds is still pure calling. I would imagine we're going to pull this as a bluff. 9-8 of diamonds, again, pure call.
6-7.
10-8 will be too good. That'll be value. 10-9 here, diamonds and hearts both continuing. So I think that my estimate is this is where the bluffs are going to come from.
Yeah.
Hands that block pocket eights and hands that block like lower straights. Maybe we convert a hand like king 9 or king 7. I'm not super confident in that, but we'll find out.
Win enough.
Um,
Click the call button and
Oh, yeah, call.
just go to the river node.
and river is
10 of clubs.
10 of clubs. Okay. I imagine check is going to be low frequency here, yeah. So it's only 22% and kind of like what we thought. It's mostly not going to be much on the ace X region. You can see there's a little bit of ace king here that's playing trap as we kind of thought. Like maybe ace king, ace queen here check some of the time to protect range. And then exactly ace 7 is choosing to check at some frequency. But for the most part, not very much checking. You can see that, like Landon said, the wheel ace, not very high frequency. It's just not going to be betting all that often. If we go back to this node, you can see it's almost all pure check. Same thing with ace 9. Ace 10 is actually a pure check. So he won't have rivered that 2 pair all that often. So now blocking the 10 is not going to be relevant. King 10 also a pure check. And 10-8 doesn't exist. So blocking 10x will be completely irrelevant, which makes me change my mind from the 10-9. We probably don't convert that to a bluff. Maybe we do, maybe we don't. I would assume
It looks like we
don't.
might beat 9s and 7s enough.
Right. So here now you can see that we pretty much only play all in, and I think we can just eliminate the other bet sizes. So let's get rid of those and only play a jam strat. 53% of the time we're all in here. Most of it is going to be for value. You could see we're jamming all of our ace X at this point, with the exception of the wheels. They play a little bit of check. Ace queen off actually plays a small amount of check, which kind of surprises me. I would think that this would be a pure all in.
It's hard to get called by worse, and you probably get called by some suited blocker.
I mean, you're going to get called by some king X and some wheel aces that checked, but yeah,
Right.
I
The
get
side card
it. Yeah.
of the queen is going to be dependent on if you check or not.
Yeah, that's true. The Queen of Hearts doesn't really want to go for it. It's going to be doing a lot more checking. You can see King Queen pure check. That's understood. Queens actually starts to
It's
be
bluffing, depending
the
on
small mergey type hand. Oh, I was right. 10-9 does pure jam. Not exactly sure outside of blocking 9-7, which maybe he doesn't even have.
I don't think he has it.
No.
So I'm not really sure why this hand chooses to bluff, other than I guess potentially
It unblocks
it's just at the
middle.
bottom.
It just, the 9 doesn't interfere very often.
Right.
So it's likely that he has showdown value.
Right. And then as we assumed, the set blocks are going pure. So 9-8, 8-7, 7-6, 6-5. These are just all going for it. 5-4 obviously is stone bottom of range. So it's going to go for it here as well.
He wins a lot to bluff jam.
Yeah. 34 big blinds at this point in time. That's probably going to be 6,
Don't
7.
check back.
Yeah, this is like 6 or 7% pot share. which is pretty
Don't
substantial.
check back 5 high.
Right, pretty substantial. And then you can see we don't really jam any single pair kings for value. So we're discussing whether or not we could actually get thin enough with king queen here. It obviously does not. King 10
loses a lot to if you go back to king queen.
Right. It does jam king 7 here at a very small frequency, specifically king 7 of hearts. I'm not entirely positive why. I guess it's not making any money. It's obviously just a break-even play, but there's something specific about the 7 of hearts here. Maybe it's because a 7 of hearts checks at such a high frequency.
Yeah.
So it blocks that call.
Yeah.
And so like I guess that's a small conversion hand where it's converting into a bluff, but not really super notable. When bluffs are pure, right? Like it's just clear that that's your path, and the notion of like merging certain hands into your bluff range that could potentially just be very close to being value or not is where this gets lost, right? The notion to bluff a pair is a good one. The notion to bluff a king is a bad one.
Yeah, like I if I remember from the submission correctly, I think he said this 3-better was getting out of line too. Like he saw him like 3-bet like a 9-4 off or 9-4 suited, you know, like just a hand that's way out of construction.
Right.
So that would make you think you'd want to check the king a lot more now because you just beat so much more of his range.
Well, it's different if you
right?
think
Is
you're
that
value
correct?
betting.
I think so.
Or or if you're yeah.
I mean, if he
That's
prefaced this hand.
No,
by
I don't think he
saying-
was value betting. He wasn't value betting. Let me check for sure.
Like
but-
if he prefaced this hand with like, I think this is an exploit because he's too wide and will overstab an ace, and I think he would bet them all on the river. I'm going for value. That's a different conversation than is this a good bluff jam?
It is different, but even still, I think it's very hard to make a case to value shove here because you block so much of the region you're trying to get called by.
Well, if he thinks that king jack off or whatever, like his
No, he was bluffing. Yeah.
yeah,
Right,
different
like
conversation.
I understand where you're going with this, but I think that's an excuse to shove ace 5.
Well, that's just a mixed play anyways, which is good. For in position. I was looking.
No, I thought a pure check. No, you're right.
Yeah, just like that's not much of an exploit
Right.
to me. I guess more so if he thinks this guy's 3-betting any 2 cards and will just stab the ace because it looks like it hits his range.
To my point, if you're purely jamming it, it is still exploitative,
Sure.
right? If you just never check those hands down, you should be able to get countered against.
Yeah, I'm not advocating to jam the king queen. More so, I can
Right.
see where you're coming from,
Yeah.
but still probably
Yeah.
just win the big pot.
Yeah,
and move
generally
on.
the notion is if the guy's way too wide, that doesn't give you reason to get that much thinner for value. It just means that you win at showdown at a much, much, much higher rate than king queen ever should, right? Looking at it, king queen's pot share here in the check back line is like 63 big blinds. So the pot at that point is $555. So you're talking about like 15%, maybe a little bit less, like 12.5% pot share by checking back. If he's way too wide, you might be winning like upwards of 30% pot share.
Yeah.
Right? Something along those lines.
Yeah,
It doesn't justify jamming because he doesn't get the call wider.
You're trying to be clairvoyant when it comes to does this guy have an ace that he checks back on the river or not?
Right.
Because if you can confidently say, I think this guy will always bet a ace on the river for value, then you should jam the king. But if you don't know that,
I don't think that's true.
why?
Because look at what
It's
his
a
call
free
rate.
roll, right?
I understand where you're going with
If
that.
he always bets ace X and always bets 2 pair plus in the same idea.
The problem is the always. Like
Well-
you can have a high degree of confidence, but it's not a pure free roll because your confidence can't ever be perfect.
No, it can't. But there's clearly a number where it's okay, right? If you knew 75% of the time he doesn't have an ace. Like, there's an, like, I just mean there's a number.
We can test that. We can test that pretty easily. I could set his checking threshold to having less than 25% ace X. In which case,
yeah, it still might not. 75 might be too high. But
right, but I mean, we can just like we can test here pretty easily.
like thinking that ace king is going to find a bet check is relatively.
I thought there was a way to sort for hand class.
Click filters, bottom right, or sorry, up, above the little ace king of hearts. I think it is.
Above the ace king of hearts. Oh yeah.
Like that.
Yes, thank you.
For what it's worth, villain had ace jack off.
Yeah, get wrecked.
That's a good check. Check some of the time.
Yeah.
Not often, but some of the time.
I mean, it's a great check if he knows this guy's going to bet king queen and
Right.
bluff that.
So let's set the check frequency for ace X to, let's call it 90%.
Sure.
So he barely has any top pair. And
Well, you're doing it the wrong way.
why?
Because look at the check. Look at all the aces that check now. You have to make them bet.
Oh, right. I'm sorry. You're
It's
right.
Monday. You must sleep.
You're right.
I know what green means in the machine. If I know anything,
You
I
are-
am colorblind.
So let's go 2 pair, top pair.
Yeah.
Let's make sets always bet.
Yep.
So that there's no traps. Let's make 2 pair always bet so there's no traps.
Nice.
Yeah, that looks good.
Because now you see here in his range, he has pocket nines, pocket jacks, king jack suited, king queen.
Right.
Like.
Okay, so now he chooses check. I still don't think king queen goes. Yeah, king queen's still a pure check. King jack ironically bets. And this is the point that I was trying to make. So before king jack checked pure, right? Now, the reason why it bets is because in spite of the fact that the out of positions range is unprotected and basically checking all of top pairs, the call off threshold doesn't change. And so what we're going to see, the reason why king jack is betting some of the time here, I assume, oh wait, maybe it does get a little bit wider. More king x starts to call. No, because then king queen would
Then
bet.
king queen would bet. You see,
I think it's because
it's these.
I think it's because
blockers
king queen will fold some of the time now.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Right? Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
It's because king queen will fold some of the time. So what ends up happening is before king jack was a pure fold and king queen was a pure call, now both of them just have to mix. And so
Yeah.
now king jack has to take a stand some of the time. But the whole point is that the threshold to call off doesn't really change that much. You just fail to meet MDF because your range is imbalanced. And that's the bigger takeaway that I'm trying to make is if a guy is way too wide, the way that you expose that is by winning more pot share at showdown, not by getting thinner and progressively thinner for value. Because the response for a guy who's way too wide is not to start calling with a 10, right? The response just remains unchanged.
Like,
He still
oh,
just
man,
folds.
I didn't have an ace.
Exactly. Think about the way that a recreational or even an unstudied player thinks. They bet the flop because they're supposed to see bet, right? They just do that with range. And then the turn comes into the magic ace. So they just bet again, right? And get called. And then the river comes a brick or the 10 or whatever, and they just go, oh man, okay, check, right? Now you jam. They don't suddenly sit there, like they're not me. They don't sit there and try to find all the reasons to call with Jack 10, right? They don't sit there and like, him and haw about why King 9 could justifiably be a possible call off here, right? They just go, oh man, I guess he has a fucking ace or he rivered it straight. I fold. As opposed to me going like, oh, hearts missed. Check.
Diamonds miss.
All in. Okay, call. You know what I mean? Like it's different. So a guy who plays way too wide of a range, what you have to understand is they're not trying to ever find balance. So you don't get to go thinner for that value. That's why that whole notion of, well, I guess if he just has like, a 25% 3-bet range here and gets to the river, then suddenly king queen has enough value to jam.
There's enough stuff in there somewhere along the lines.
Right. It just becomes a matter of like, yeah, but like what's actually happening is they just always fold. So you're only negative free rolling yourself.
You're winning red line.
Right. But you're kind of negatively free rolling yourself because any margin of error now that you have on him checking a trap shows up in that node.
It's not worth enough.
Right. You don't win anything more by jamming, but you lose a little bit additionally because every now and again they're going to trap. And also if they see that you ever jam king queen, they'll know to trap more. So you give them a corrective play to re-exploit. Right. And that's really ultimately what we don't want to do in live poker. We don't ever want to tip our hand that we're on to them.
You want a big pot, check back and win.
Exactly. If you guys are in the muck,
Greed is bad.
And you find yourself being not greedy or too greedy, head over to our Discord channel. That's hashtag Discord in the chat. You can follow the link or at onlyfriends_pod. It's the pinned tweet. You can go over there. We have an entire community dedicated to strategy, getting you guys all better at poker. But specifically, we have a forum for In the Muck where you can make hand submissions. And we always appreciate more hand submissions. That's going to do it for us today. Don't forget to like, subscribe, click the bell, leave a comment below. Let us know what you think about our Weekend Warrior picks. Lamanna and I are out here fucking torching it on the Steelers. God, I said it, man. I should just be all in -3.
Yeah.
Like, they were never fucking losing that game.
No.
God damn it.
I know.
$700 like Conrad.
Seems
just
so
all
easy in
Rehab
hindsight, doesn't
coming
it?
soon, buddy. Rehab coming soon.
Hey, but we're still in for the circuit, baby.
We are still in for the circuit.
Everybody
the entire
won, but
pool.
we won. Let's go.
That's right. I'm going to take some of Guapo's advice, and I'm going to learn from my mistakes. I'm going to stop going all in on these goddamn 16 parlays,
Attaboy.
and I'm going to start betting $50 a week on sure things, which are the Steelers on the money line.
I got to catch up to Platt, so I'm all in this week. I'll let you know where we're going.
Okay, let's all fade that one. I'll see you guys here tomorrow, bright and early. We'll be back at noon Pacific. As always, we should have a special guest for you. I'll let you know sometime in the interim. Be sure to follow our social media for updates, as well as more tips and tricks and hints for the Gold Pass giveaway for NAPT. We'll see you guys all at noon tomorrow.
Peace.
Later, squad.
Peace.